Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to another daily conversation about situations in everyday life. So let's talk about it. So today is Monday and I am back from my work trip. I know you guys missed me last week. I missed you too. I am a little under the weather, but I'm pushing through it. The topic I wanted to bring to our attention this morning and to kind of like kickstart our week. After experiencing this work trip and seeing how I could be a part of a company that is so large, and my position in some other companies, my position could seem very minute, but in this position, my position is pretty much like the nucleus of the company. We have a hand in every department because we are pretty much like the liaisons to each department and our customers, right? Whether it's B2B or B2C customers. And getting a chance to really sit there and have meeting after meeting after meeting with all the different departments in my company and seeing that my input was valued, even though I've only been with this company for a year now, what I said mattered. The VP of the company was actually hearing what I had to say and considering to apply it in their business models. That is being a part of some place where everyone is valued. That's why they're so particular on who they hire, because they want to make sure that they're bringing in someone to the company that will function more of an asset than a liability, bringing in great ideas, bringing in something to help the company grow, right? That's kind of like what it is that we look for in life. We look for someone that's going to be an asset in our lives. We look for situations that's going to be a benefit in our lives. We look for opportunities that's going to help to catapult us to the next level. We're constantly looking for something to better ourselves, right? So if that is the case, that's our natural behavior. Why do we constantly surround ourselves with people that cause us to shrink opposed to be the best version of ourselves? Like, why are we shrinking who we are down just to match our circle instead of like just living to the best of our ability? I saw something the other day where love in full effect is pretty much the acronym for life, right? And when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, that is so cool, because it's like you feel that. I felt that in my soul. Like if I can love in full effect, that is me living life. Me just glorifying the ability to even love, to share, to give, to empathize, to like all of those abilities and characteristics. It's like when you can live to them to your fullest, it's what makes life joyous, right? So I was scrolling upon Instagram, of course, as I do, over the weekend, and I came across Pastor Ken. It was so cool. I hope I said his name right, Pastor Ken. For those of you that don't know him, he is the current husband of Shaq's ex-wife. Those of you that know who she is, know who she is. If you don't, go Google her. Um, I wanted to share this passage that I heard him break down about how we continue to shrink ourselves from being our best versions. And I do not want us to do that. I want my community to continue to explore the best versions of yourself so that you can live to that fullest potential of yours, right? Not sitting down and being dumbed down because the people around you can't handle your fire. They can't handle your abilities. You need a new circle. You feel me? So listen to what he had to say. It's the breakdown of what he had to say that I loved. Check it out.
You cannot stay in environments where people don't know the true value of you. If you stay in environments where people don't recognize the value of you, you will shrink your gift to the size of what they can stand. And that's what causes anxiety and depression and stress, because you have had to shrink into a form where people can tolerate you. I refuse to be small because you think small. I'm not shrinking my vision because you can't catch up. You either better roll with me or you gonna get rolled over.
So you see, what I love, it was so much parts, moving parts of that snippet that I love. Like he said, if you're not gonna roll with me, then get out the way or you're gonna get rolled over, right? And that only happens when a person finally gets to the point where they understand what's going on and they know who they are, and it's time for them to, keep it pushing. People sometimes don't really understand that they are doing that to you, right? It's like they don't really realize that they're subconsciously encouraging you to shrink down who you are because they can't tolerate you be, oh my God, why are you so extra? I heard that my entire life. Oh, you so extra. But now as an adult, it's like, oh, you the life of the party. Nothing ain't popping off until you come. But when I was younger, it was like, you're doing too much. You're too extra. Da 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 da. And now it turned into the life of the party. Why? Because people want that energy. So here you are back at where someone is feeding into you because of the benefit of you, right? Not really the value of you, right? Because if it was that, it would be more than just seeing that you're the life of the party, right? What knowledge and wisdom and support and motivation are you spewing out, right? It's not, you're not just turning. I know for me, I'm not just a turn up queen. Granted, I do know how to get lit and make some stuff shake, right? But it's not about that. It's about really being able to be a light in the room, be an energy that people can gravitate to. And sometimes people don't like that. That's what he means when people want to shrink you down so that your gift is not seen, your touch is not being felt, and is that the life we want to live? Some of us are okay with our circles, that's fine. Some of us don't even see what I'm saying right now, and I totally understand. But for those of you that see and hear what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying, get a grip on yourself. Don't shrink down your size for nobody. Don't let nobody make you feel like you're less than who you are. If you feel in your core that you're being too much, then tone it down. But don't tone it down just because somebody else told you that you're being too much, right? Because you got to also check, where is that coming from? It could come from a good place, because sometimes my fiance got to check me like, boo, take it down a little bit. Because I'll be full of energy. I'll be so excited and I just be so full of life that it's like, okay, and sometimes you're not really reading the room and you're not really reading as somebody's ready to try to throw you a gut punch. And you would be so oblivious to it that you had no clue it was coming. You are in such shock that it happened. And it's like, how? There was premeditated steps over there coming your way for about 20 minutes and you ain't even peep it. All the little low blows, all the side eyes, all the gut punches, all of those things are actions of ways that people utilize different things to shrink us down. And we got to be able to peep it. We got to be able to see where those things are taking place in our lives. Because if they don't, we are going to ultimately find ourselves in depression, right? Because you're not happy. You're not fully being yourself. You're not being the best version of yourself. Your core knows who that person is. I always call it the little girl or the little boy inside of you, because that little girl and little boy is so innocent and pure. They're innocent. There's no flaws, right? Even the flaws that we think are flaws, they're not flaws because they're imperfections, right? So when we see ourselves not elevating to the best version of ourselves, what do? We need to analyze everything around us. Because if your circle is holding you so tight to a form that is not you, you're going to eventually burst and break through. You're going to want to just explode, and then it's going to probably explode in a way that you didn't really want it to explode. But it's inevitable, right? You can't. So you ever put a water balloon, right, and you fill it up with water and you tie the knot and you squeeze it and you see it, you see the top swell up, you see the bottom swell up, and you squeeze it, and all the water is just going to different sections, right? But if you squeeze it hard enough and add a little puncture to it, it's going to pop. It's going to pop. So eventually, if someone keeps squeezing you into a small space that just does not fit your spirit inside, eventually your spirit is going to explode. Because you must understand that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, okay? And sometimes our spirit wants to burst out of our container because our container can't contain us, right? And that's when your spirit is elevated. That's when you feel yourself, oh my gosh, you feel different. Something about you just feel like you swolled up. You just feel like you the biggest bodybuilder in the world. But it's not that. It's just that your spirit is alive. Your spirit is flexing. Your spirit wants to come out and be the best version of you. And the only way we can allow our spirit to have that freedom to be the best versions in this fleshical body is to make sure that we surround ourselves in a space so that we can flourish. You do not want to surround yourselves in a space where you're contained, where you're suppressed, where you're told to do only this and this. That's another thing I don't like. When someone tries to tell you that this is your gift, this is all you're supposed to be doing, you should be doing. No. And who's to say, maybe that is my gift, but who's to say that it's supposed to be in that way? If I'm not even feeling it in that way and I'm feeling it in this way, is it really supposed to be in that way? Because isn't our core supposed to be our true director? Because once we are in alignment with the Almighty and our ancestors in the universe, our core will direct us in the right direction. That's what we're supposed to trust ourselves, right? That we are made in His image, right? We know His voice, and a strange voice we won't follow. All of these things that we know, and we build our confidence in what we feel within ourselves, but then we don't trust our judgment. We want to trust other people's judgment over our own. I will judge myself 10 times fold before I let anybody else judge me. Why? Because I'm going to be my best and worst critic. And I know balance. And I continue to strive to seek balance. So I'm always going to, even if, because I'm not perfect, there might be a time where I'm a little off on it. But there's my circle, my village, right? I make sure that my circle and my village around me are people that want to see me be the best version of me. And I've articulated what that looks like to them. They've even articulated what that looks like to them. So when you find yourself in these kind of pockets, it's only room for growth. It's only room for prosperity, right? And happiness and success. If you surround yourself with minute energy and energy that is created to keep you in a box, then guess what? You're going to be in a box. You got to spread your wings. You got to allow yourself to soar. You got to allow yourself to tap into who it is that you want to be so that you can not only acknowledge it, but you can articulate that to your loved ones, to your village, to your circle. So everyone knows the journey that you're on, the vision that you're on, the goal that you're on, right? It's so funny. My fiance, when me and him get into it sometimes, our little debates, he'll be like, you know what? I ain't got nothing to say. I ain't coming between you and your guy. I'll be on the floor because I'm like, what you mean? You know, he's like, you different about that. So I'm not even going to get into that and try to be in combativeness with you on that because your connection is real. Like when you know that your connection is real and there's definitely a channel of guidance going on, you got to respect it. You got to just see it. Like I tell him, I said, sometimes the way that you analyze things and see things, you're always like 2 steps ahead of me. I'm trying to explain something to you that you already done processed. And it's crazy to me how he does it so effortlessly and he doesn't even flex on it. He's such a humble dude about it. Like, he just be chilling and kicking back. And then when all is said and done, it's like, yeah, you know, A, B, C, D, and E was over to the left. And you like, how the heck, how did you see that? How did you peep that? How did you understand that? How did you process that? And it's like, he's such a logic person, but he's also, he's a realist, right? But he's also an optimist at the same time. It's crazy to me because it's like he locks into the logics and the reality of what it is, right? But then he also sees where it can go. And then he kind of is able to assess if this person or thing or situation even has the potential to go there. right? That's something a lot of people can't even process, and they got to process it in stages. And whenever we're in conversation, sometimes he helps. I'll feel something, and I wouldn't know how to really break it down and what I'm feeling to articulate it. So I'll try to go through this whole big spiel to break it down. And he's like, I already got it. This is what you're trying to say, right? And I'm like, well, no, and it's like, no, this is really when you look at it, it's like, dang, because you're trying to make it sound pretty, because you're trying to sugarcoat it, because you're trying to beat around the bush. And the reality of it is the root is exactly what he said. That is the root. Right? There are other things that you want to express and elaborate on, but at the end of the day, there's a root. And if we deal with the root, all of that other stuff, it's gonna fizz out. It's gonna find its position. It's gonna align where it needs to align. But until you are in one within yourself to really know which direction you're going and which things you need to adhere to, you gotta really be happy about where you are. You got to feel that joy. You got to feel that confidence, or you won't be able, you're going to shrink yourself. Forget people around you. You're going to shrink yourself because you're not 100% happy with yourself. You don't even see yourself. You're not confident in yourself. You're not confident in your abilities. You're not confident in your skill sets. Just those thoughts alone is shrinking you. Just those thoughts alone are shrinking you. And if you are feeling those thoughts, you need to find a space where you can boost your thoughts to a more positive thought of yourself. If these are the things that you're feeling about yourself because this is a part of you that feels like it's a fact, then guess what? You need to make some changes. You need to do the work to elevate yourself to the next level so that those thoughts are not reality. So at the end of the day, it all comes back to you. What it is that you want. Do you want to continue to shrink in life, or do you want to live? Do you want to be at your best potential, or do you want to just be? These are the things that you got to ask yourself and operate in whichever one you want. I'm not here to tell you which one is right, which one is wrong. That is for you to decide, because you might like simplicity, right? Simplicity might not be all of the extra rah-rah, but just being the best version of yourself, meaning being who you are, who you're content with. If that's the case, then be that. You don't have to be all this extraness and all. No, we're all not built for that. We're all not made for that. We're not all created to be that. So find your purpose. Figure out what it is that you feel 100% comfortable with, because 9 times out of 10, that is the best version of yourself, because you're going to be able to truly manifest it. Okay? So go out there today and continue to seek the circle and the atmosphere that allows you to be the best version of you.